Who's Mark? So I was born in Brooklyn, in an area called Manhattan Beach. I'm the youngest of seven children. There were four boys and three girls. Happy family. But I was the youngest by my oldest brother was 20 years older than me. So we come from a mixed family. So my mom was much younger than my dad. When I was born, my dad, I think, was in his early 40s already. So we lived in Manhattan Beach for about 4 or 5 years, and we moved to Cherry Hill, New Jersey for a little while. Then we wound up back in Brooklyn, and then back into Manhattan Beach. Went to elementary school in Manhattan Beach. It was like being in a country school. There were two classes for every grade. My first big award that I got an award for being a safety marshal, crossing kids in the streets. So that was fun. Was in a few school plays back then. I was in Guys and Dolls. I was Guy Masterson for Guys and Dolls. And then, so that was school, my early years of school. And every summer, I would go away to sleepaway camp. First 6 years, I went to camp called Camp Birch Hill, which is up in New Hampshire. And then the last 4 years, I went to a great camp called Camp Olympus, which is up in the Catskills. And actually, still today, my lifelong best friend is from Camp Olympus. Hi, Fred. And then proceeded to go to Reynolds Junior High School and graduated from there. Then went to Lincoln High School, graduated from there. Didn't know where I wanted to go next, and I decided to go to a local school, which was Kingsborough Community College, which was in Manhattan Beach. Graduated there, and then I proceeded to go to the University of South Florida for a semester. My father got ill, and I wasn't, doing that great in school, to be quite candid. So I came home and I went to work with my father. Like I said, he was ill, so my mother and my sister Arlene, we ran the store for a while till my father came back. And I had to make a decision whether I wanted to be in retail, like my two older brothers, and I decided to go in a different direction. Just to rewind a little bit, some of the difficult times I had as a child. I had mentioned before that my brother Gary passed away when I was 15. He was 25 from drug overdose. And I saw some things when I was a kid that no kid should really ever see. It was very traumatic for me. Probably suffered from those things that I saw for most of my life until I got the demons out of me. So that was difficult. And also in my teen years, I lost two friends, one from cancer and one, I believe, I got from an asthma attack, I believe. So I've saw death at a very young age, fortunately. And then from there, going back to work, my uncle was a client of a small municipal bond firm in New Jersey called Halford Obrist. I had a couple of friends who were working there, doing really well. And I decided to leave my dad and go to work in finance, which, quite frankly, at 22 years old, I didn't know a lot, but did have this insatiable appetite to succeed. My two older brothers were very successful in retail, and I didn't know how I was going to compete with them. Not that they knew that I was competing with them. So I went into finance and cold called for 6 days a week for probably 6 years, first 2 years at this municipal bond firm. And then I left there. I went to another municipal bond firm called Bevel, Bressler and Schulman. I became, one of the top producers there. And then they went out of business. So that was my first experience of a company that I was working for going out of business. It was a little bit traumatic, but I just leaned into it and went on to the next firm. And that's when I was hired by Jimmy King, the former CEO of Bear Stearns. I came there and I thought I was like somewhat of a big shot, 24 years old. And he just put me in my place, said, you're nothing but a small tadpole in a large pond coming here. So I like that. He challenged me. So I got to Bear Stearns in April of 85 and proceeded to continue to cold call, build my book of business. And then I had two mentors. Those my first business mentors that were working there, and I was close to them. One was Steve Ackerman, who was about 18 years older than me, was actually 20 years older than me, and his partner at the time, Barry Gans. Barry's 17 years older than me. We meshed. They were looking for a young kid to, put a little jolt in their business, and they brought me on in sometime in '86 or '87. And really, for me personally, they are the reasons why I'm sitting here, the reasons why for my success. They believed in me, and our partnership, lasted for many, many years. I'm forever beholden to them. So then we formed our partnership in the late '80s, and we proceeded to build a great business. I became a senior managing director at a very young age. I think I was 32 or 33 years old. I knew everyone who was anyone at Bear Stearns. It was really a great company to work for. Not no politics. The leaders were great, and everything to me was a black and white at Bear Stearns, which I appreciated. And because I was privy to be senior managing director, I was able to sit at the partners' dining room every single day. As a young kid, listening to these great Wall Street finance people, Ace Greenberg and Jimmy Kane and many other people, Dennis Bovin and Jeff Irwin. These are all people that I knew well. And to listen and to be so young and absorb all the information that I was getting was just spectacular. Just couldn't replace that. And then we proceeded to build the business until Bear Stearns went out of business. Fact is that at the time I was negotiating with Morgan Stanley. My mentor, Morris Offit, who's a great man, one of my mentors, had advised me that the summer before Bear Stearns went out of business, that he was concerned about the franchise. And I took that advice very seriously. And I sat down with my partners and, decided that we should consider moving out of the firm. And then we built a great business there, and we loved being there, but we were concerned about the franchise. And so I started to negotiate with some firms, and I actually had a handshake deal with Morgan Stanley about 2 days, 3 days before Bear Stearns went out of business. And we went in on a Friday in the middle of the week, as in March of 2008. And we came in, and JP Morgan made an announcement that Bear Stearns, they were taking over Bear Stearns at a very low price. We decided to sign up with Morgan Stanley on that Friday that Bear Stearns was taken over by JP Morgan. And we scrambled over the weekend to bring to have our information ready to go. And the one of the heads at JP Morgan came over to us during the week, and I asked her if she was going to be any retention bonuses for my team to stay. She just said she wasn't sure. We gathered as a team, and we decided to leave Bear Stearns on St. Patrick's Day, believe it or not. It was a very surreal moment in my life, just leaving Bear Stearns after many years of being there, walking across Fifth Avenue during St. Patrick's Day parade. And Morgan Stanley crammed us in a small office to, as we, brought our business over there, to give a significant credit to a very close friend of mine named Billy Van Scoik. Billy is personally responsible for my success, our team's success at Morgan Stanley. And we came over during that early, late winter, early spring in 2008. We scrambled, and somehow we were able to bring all our assets over. And from then going forward, I had a great run at Morgan Stanley. My team is still there. Myself, Barry, Stephen, and Russell Gans, we built the business over a period of 15 years to one of the best advisory groups, actually, in the country. My team was awarded many times best in state in New York and best in state in Florida and in country. We were in the top rankings in those three categories. And for me personally, I was also ranked best in state in New York, best in state in Florida, and best in country. But that's because of it's not from all what I did. It's always a team effort. My team, both Sage Wealth Management. I'm very proud of what I accomplished there, what the team is accomplishing there, and now led by David Burden and Russell Gans. So I'm very close to both of them and very proud of the way the business is going. And now, almost 2 years after I left the Morgan Stanley, I'm probably the happiest I've been in many, many, many years. I'm very relaxed. Don't feel the stress of being running a large team and after doing something for 42 years. It's always, for me, it was ready to make a change. And as I said several times during these filmings, I do journaling every single day. Exactly a year ago, I got to journal. I wrote down on a post-it that I want to love to be in business with my son Alex. And now a year later, Alex and his great girlfriend Ariana are running this great business called Novastem. It's a stem cell hair restoration business, which you probably find funny because I'm bald, but if I tell you, I'll tell you another story some other day about that. And I'm just so proud of my son and Ariana and how this business grow. And we're just expanding to a second office, and we'll probably have 4 offices by June of 2026. And I'm just proud of them. It's a lot of fun. And now I'm also working with my cousin Abe Casson and his close partner Maurice Savag over at KSR. Very proud to be there and help them grow their company. They're a real estate advisory firm, great firm, and I'm very proud just to be working there. And I also just, have my own real estate on the side. So I'm keeping myself busy. I've met a bunch of new friends over the past year, which has made me extremely happy. Get a chance to meet special people in your life all the time. And I was fortunate this year I have. And that's it.